to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Blasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week, we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Today we have an incredibly special program. As a matter of fact, there has been absolutely no prep for this, absolutely no I purposely did no research on this show. And who and what we're going to be doing this hour is going to be really extraordinary because it's going to be something that's live, and we're going to just see how it goes and where it goes. My guest today is a returning guest, a favorite of Out of the Box Radio listeners, and a dear friend of mine, Miss Abigail Noel, who is a medical intuitive and psychic. How would you like to be described there?
Intuitive therapist and just a psychic channel, although we're all psychic.
There you go.
But I've been aware of my channeling and mediumship abilities since, to my knowledge, birth. 2.5 was my first memory.
So today we have something really special for the listeners, right, Abby? This is incredible.
Wow, yeah.
And we're just gonna I'm just gonna give them a little bit of a background here. We're gonna be speaking about, and in particular, Abigail is going to be trying to channel and hear from George Michael. Yes, George Michael. He was born on June 25th, 1963. He first came to fame, of course, as we know, as a member of the music duo Wham, but then went on to have a hit solo career, selling more than 115 million records worldwide, making him one of the most best-selling musical artists of all time. And in the early hours of December 25th, on Christmas Day, George Michael, who was aged 53, was found dead in bed at his Oxfordshire home. Now, first they said heart failure, but a preliminary investigation into the cause of death of this wonderful pop singer has concluded
drugs
with inconclusive results. The official story, Abby, is that George Michael died in his sleep of heart failure, but his publicist confirmed, and reports now are still saying that it's being treated as unexplained, but not suspicious, okay? So it's inconclusively conclusive, whatever the hell that means. And I know as I was reading that, you were getting major hits. Tell us what you got.
Well, the energy just moving in. I just received a huge heart blast of emotion. There it goes again. It's George Michael's presence has come through. He's with Abba, the energy I call Dad, the masculine God energy. And with that said, the energy, I was fully vibrating up from my feet and also down at the same time from my head. It was just really wild. It was very powerful. Hadn't felt that since Prince showed up on the balcony. And but with that said, what I got right away, and I didn't know again that, and I don't watch the news or any of that, and I haven't for about 11 years now, and I missed it. It was really funny because I kept hearing "Wake me up before you go," and I just didn't get it. And of course, I knew who George Michael was, but I wasn't really a big fan of anybody in particular. I just listened to music and appreciated him. But with that said, someone had, let me know that he had crossed, and it really wasn't of interest to me right away. And I don't go look for more to do. Believe me, I don't. Right now,
you're quite busy.
I say this with humility. Yeah, I've got enough on my plate. I didn't really feel like I wanted to talk to George Michael. In fact, it was kind of a funny joke between some of my friends, and I say foundational friends that have been around me or in my life for quite a while now. Some of them, like 8 years and beyond. They all don't. Some of them don't really understand when the Prince thing, and so now it's kind of like George Michael, like she lost her mind. So I get I didn't believe in conspiracy theories before all of this happened. About a year ago, I didn't watch the news. I didn't know George Michael, bringing it current, had crossed. And one day I just as with anyone else, and I've been talking to spirits my whole life. So for me, it's really my first nature. I truly prefer to talk to dead people more than most live people. And I say that with love and respect, but it's true. And so it's really my first nature. So I knew George Michael was with me. I knew he was with Abba again. And the heart blast that I got when you were saying that he died in his sleep of heart failure, it was heart failure, but it was a drug-induced heart failure. And that's what I was told. I would ask, as always, that the listeners ask for this truth. As they're hearing this, please take everything from your head to your heart. I'm not here to tell anybody their truth. I'm just doing my very best to be brave enough to share what I know is true. And the reason I know it's true is because I was not looking for these answers. And I didn't know this before. And all of it shocks the hell out of me, all of it. And that people will say, well, how do you know it's God talking? Because it's going to shock the hell out of you. It's going to be something you seriously didn't know before. If we all had God, the world wouldn't look like it is. So, it's not what you think. That's how you know it's God. So I was told that he took a sedative or possibly a muscle relaxer, and then another drug to stop his heart. And again, as you said when we started, we are just rolling off the cusp. I haven't researched anything. I didn't know when he was born.
I only looked that up.
Died on Christmas.
Yeah, I only looked up that information just really
right before.
Yeah, right before. Yeah. No research on this. And my experience with George is just, when I in the late 80s, early 90s, I thought he was amazingly gorgeous. And I think I secretly wanted to be him. I think I secretly wanted to be George Michael at some point because he was so sexy.
I think I did too. I just wanted to be with him, I think.
And so for this show, I purposely made sure that I did not look up anything. So only my recollection from him from that time, the late 80s, early 90s, and just wanted to actually get his date of birth to also help pull him forward. Not that he needs that. And also to give our background to our listeners. I was at dinner one night and you called me frantically, very urgent phone call from Abby. And Abigail knows like how crazy busy I am, and she never puts out the bat signal unless it's real serious. And that night you did. Why don't you tell our listeners about that? You had urgently called me, and you were getting something, I guess, from George, right?
Yes, I'd been on Facebook Live earlier that evening, and he had come up in that particular broadcast just a little bit, not anything that but just a little bit. And so some channel information came through, and when I got done, I was getting ready to go to bed. It was kind of late. I think it was even about 9 o'clock your time, about 11 o'clock mine. And so I was getting ready for bed and just doing some things. And all of a sudden I knew he was with me here in the kitchen. He stepped down on my left, and he literally said, Christine needs to call me. And it was really funny. And spirit, heaven's hysterical. So it's not that they just channel this way for me. It's just that if you're open to it, they will all be funny. I mean, think about why wouldn't you laugh in heaven, right? So they make jokes all the time, which is great. It also keeps the vibration high. There's science behind this. And when your vibration's high and you're happy, it's easier to hear God. When you're scared, down, and depressed, it's tougher. It's just the way it goes. So with that, you have to reach higher, to do it. With that said, it was hysterical because what he told me is that because you got a new love in your life, and
yes.
and we love her because you love her, and we love you, and everyone's happy. It's been a love fest February, and for Christine, seriously, it makes my heart so happy for you. And so, but George was hysterical because he said, would you please tell Christine we got stuff to do. I'm trying to get her, tell her to call me. He said, I've been trying to get her attention, but she
tell her to call me.
He said, he did. He said, please tell her to freaking call me, hello. And he said, she's got her head up her girlfriend's ass. But what's funny is they don't say that. They like to communicate with emotion and pictures. It's hysterical because we don't speak in heaven. There's no language. You don't press 1 for, English and 2 for, Spanish. There's one language, the language of the heart. And so in heaven, and that is emotions and movies, and it's hysterical. It's like watching those, the old films with no sound, like Charlie Chaplin. This stuff's hysterical. And so, and then you get heart blasts on top of it. And so it's wonderful. So what he showed me was a cartoon of you like literally like chasing after her, like she's running. So anyways, it was hysterical across Australia, of course. I'm sure you were holding a koala bear or some shit, So it was funny. So yes, then I got you, and I'm like, hey, Christine, you need to call George.
Which means that we would be doing a show,
doing a show,
and getting it out to listeners, and then of course through the iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the YouTube archives, then thousands more people will be able to hear it. So obviously, I got why he wanted to contact me, but through you. And here's the thing is that, I was like, okay, because I had just had dinner. I had a cocktail or maybe two. And I was just like blown away. I go, okay. And in my head, I'm like, okay, George, we'll get to you. Okay. I'm a little busy right now, but we'll get to you. So the next day or the day, you can remind me. I don't know if it was the next day or the day after that. I get a text from my girl. I get a text from her, and she says she's shopping in the grocery store, and she said, you wouldn't believe, over the loudspeaker is a George Michael song, and it obviously got her attention, right? And I had just passingly, because I don't, we haven't really talked about this whole thing too much in depth. I don't want to scare her away. No.
I got you.
I don't go, oh yeah, but she knows, she understands. So I had just mentioned that, oh, yeah, George Michael wants to get on the show. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So she heard the song at the grocery store, she tells me. Then the next day, she's in her office, another George Michael song. And so she lets me know that. I said, wow, he's going directly to her because he knows that I'm going to be listening to her. Mm-hmm. And then she said that right after the George Michael song at the office, Prince came on.
Of course.
So it's like, if you're not going to listen to George, then Prince is it's going to like double whammy, like pay attention. So
hello.
So George, we have you now, and the floor is yours. I'm sorry it took so long. My apologies, but it was very clever of you to go through my dear, sweet, beautiful girl in Australia to get to my attention, because you got my attention, and now we open up the floor to you.
Absolutely. And what's beautiful is then that opens up your girl. She starts to open up and plugging in even more. You know what I mean? Going, wow, that was crazy.
Yep.
So every time you have one of those mystical experiences, you trust a little bit more, and faith grows.
If we can, let's go to let's just go to that day. Let's go to the day that it was announced. Anyway, Christmas Day, the 25th of December. If you can you see anything from George's perspective, or is he allowing you to see anything from his perspective on that day?
Well, first, as best I remember, and I really don't do days in time, but for me the conversation with George Michael did not begin until sometime after his crossing. I don't remember how many days. And again, what's beautiful about that is that makes it, pretty obvious, I'd say, to anyone, not that anyone should make assumptions, but pretty obvious, that I wasn't seeking to go talk to George, and I'm not saying this is in disrespect. It's great. It's just that I believe we're all psychic. I'm not here to present as a psychic. A lot of the psychics will right away jump in and light a candle and begin a conversation and go seek for answers for people. And that's great. I understand that's the way they're contracted to work here. That phase is ending. I wait for my team to let me know timing. I don't go seek anything really. I just allow my life to unfold. So George didn't come for some days afterwards. Again, just like you had said, I didn't really know anything. I love to just go in blank, just an absolute blank slate, and then be open to anything. And I have learned over the last year since Prince's crossing, since Prince's murder, to be open to, wow, even more of anything. It's amazing to me that this has gone on actually for so long. But what happens, and if you look at it, George Michael was also speaking out. And so if people do the research, they'll see this. So when he did come to me some days later, what was shown to me and what he told me, and again, he was with Abba, just like with Prince. And of course they would be. That's the hierarchy for me in my channel. Or he'd be with Jay or Mother Mary or, someone. But Abba is the one that I work with on these cases. And with that said, what was told to me, and in fact, man, I just got to say it. It's like, I got a lot of fear around this one because it's so absurd to me. It's the most wild story. And so, and I don't walk in a lot of fear. I love to find it though. Because when you find it, that means you just got to walk into it.
You got to walk through it, right?
Yeah, you just got to walk through it. And there's no way I'm going to start doubting myself and let George Michael down. Makes sense? Like, I got to be his hands and feet. And if something, here comes the emotion. It's the emotion that lets me know.
Well, I just got a heart blast.
Yeah. It's the emotion. They're reassuring me right now that this is true. He was speaking out. The stars are, many of them, depending on how much power, money, position, how much, and especially if they've played the game, if they're in the gang, if they're in this one world order, the Illuminati is real. I won't say their name again. I call them the Illuminati. I won't give them any respect. But the Illuminati is real. And they have their tendrils in our banking system, in our politics, in our food, in our drugs. They have since this country began, for God's sakes. Like, just research it, guys. And our stars who are truly authentic, the ones that are not sheep, the ones who will not give up their morals, their truth, their character, their heart, the ones who will not give up their heart, they just said, and it's and I don't, it's just ridiculous. It's for money and for the illusion of popularity. Bunch of people that you think like you that wouldn't like you if they knew you. It's crazy. And people make these entertainers idols. But with that said, those are the ones that fall into this order. There's many of them that know. They find out what's really going on in the world. You can't be that powerful and run in these circles and not start hearing things. That's what I'm told. So then you have a choice to play along, go away quietly, or speak out. Those that speak out get killed, and especially if they've got record contracts or if they're signed with the agency called CAA. All of this information, none of this did I receive from the internet, none of it. Robin Williams told me about CAA, and you can see Robin Williams left CAA and he was dead 18 months later. Or 2 years later, somewhere in there. So with regard to George Michael, he was speaking out politically, just like Prince was. Small deals, small groups, small gatherings, small concerts, insiders where they felt safe. And then what I'm shown, again, as cause of death was self-induced heart attack. He took a muscle relaxer, I believe, to not feel any pain or strain from the heart. They lie because, remember, the Queen of England, she's the one who said kill him. Elton John's next. They've told me this. So he'll have a strange passing as well, because he knows that the Queen called the hit on
George.
And it's all of this crazy conspiracy stuff about the Queen. It's true. It's true. America has not really ever been free, but it certainly hasn't been free since World War I. They say that's when we went back and started aligning with England again.
It's never been free.
It's never been, but we for sure started moving our country into this one world idea, this one world order after World War I. And our two-party system is an absolute ruse and a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. God wouldn't participate. So as far as God's concerned, we don't have a president right now. It's what everyone should know. Love and gratitude. We really don't, because it wasn't a fair vote in the first place. If it's not fair, then it's not viable by God's standards. But we live down here by a whole nother set of standards where we justify lies.
Yeah.
We justify lies from our politicians, from our entertainers, so that they can keep their control power. And they make justification. Well, you just can't, the people, they're just so crazy. We couldn't tell them the truth. They would just go nuts. Shh.
I just got a hit that, wow. Oh, they call themselves the illumined ones because they believe that they're better than everyone, and that
Yes.
and that we are absolutely, we're just cattle,
Dumb.
stupid,
Dumb.
stupid,
Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. And some of the stars believe that. They just laugh as we get our $10 movie tickets and our $8 popcorn.
Yeah.
Sit and we watch their bullshit. Same story over and over again because they can't think of anything new to write. I swear to God. I blow my gratitude. So with that said, this is the part that's to me, and so I certainly, Christine, ask for validation. People, audience listening, please ask for validation. Ask God, tell you the truth, and just get out of the way. Just imagine that anything is possible and crazy. And it's my understanding. Well, I don't know if I have no idea. Actually, it's how much I don't know about George Michael. I don't know if he presented himself as bisexual or gay. I don't know. I didn't really care. I just thought he was beautiful and an amazing person and performer. With that said, my understanding is that he did have a relationship with a woman in Paris. I'm getting full chills. Thank you. Thank you. She's beautiful. And she's a dear friend, but they have a daughter. He had a daughter. So what happened was the same thing that happened to Robin Williams. They threaten your firstborn. How did I know this? Because I didn't even know Robin Williams. I didn't know how many kids he had when this came through for him. And I certainly didn't know this about George Michael. It's why they hide their children. It's why Prince has children. This I know because he's shown them to me, but I will never say who they are. Chills, never. So with that said, he had a daughter that he kept it secret. The stars know these things. That's what they tell me. When you get high enough up. And so that's what I'm told is he received a notice. It's called a notice. And Robin Williams received the same thing. When Robin Williams came through and told me, and my relationship with Robin is really strong from the other side. And so I feel him so much. And he said, they threatened my little girl with the funny face. And I heard Abba say, his firstborn, sweetheart. And then this really happened. He took me to the Bible passage that talks about how they take this firstborn to build the foundation. Now, how on earth did God direct me to that Bible passage? I don't even know that book. It's just been amazing since then. So when George Michael came through, I was told he received the same notice. And what they do is they tell you that they're going to get your firstborn otherwise, and then you have to pay a certain amount of money in cash. That's why Robin Williams was putting all the watches that he had. He had a collection in his sock. It had to be cash. And then he was there to take their own life. And so George Michael chose drug-induced. I'm just there's just emotion pouring through me. She's a model like her mom, I believe. And I was even told, I believe her name. Well, I'm not going to say her name. Thank you. I know it's true. X. They just like X. Just say that she's named after someone he loved. I love this because this is so much validation for me. There's a lot of emotion. Heavy vibration. Evoking the violet flame and the purple rain. Thanking heaven for full favor. So they're killing our authentic stars, the ones who won't hide and the ones who won't lie. and then they take their money. It's just like the Catholic Church used to take everything the priests had. You sign up and you sign in. And the Catholic Church is very much part of this Illuminati. Very much. Pardon me, Illuminatis. Dad calls them those with small dicks.
I'm wondering, I'm curious because as the same with Prince Rogers Nelson, George's musical catalog was massively, I mean, the wealth that could be accumulated in owning that catalog. Are you getting any? Oh, yeah. Is there any hits on who owns that?
Right away. I'm not. I'll go back to that. I mean, but it's just because I want to bring it up for the listeners. Michael Jackson, he bought the Beatles and pissed them off. He died not too long after that. So it's like, please, guys, in the same manner, how many stars are going to go down with these crazy mixed up drugs with these crazy doctors? It's just like, come on, guys. How many times are we going to hear the same story? Whitney Houston died in the bathtub of a drug overdose, and her daughter Bobby did the same thing. Come on. No way. No one would. No. I'm going to tell you, you could get psychologist after psychologist after psychologist to tell you that she's not going to go do the same thing her mom just did. Math would tell you it's not possible. So going back to who has the record catalog. Well, the first thing that I see in my head is they wrote early rights. So they've owned him for a long time. Many of them go independent later, but just like Prince, they owned everything. Purple Rain, everything early. So they're always secure. That's like their insurance policy, the early music rights. They get them when they're young. And they know, check it out, they know that some of them are going to be rebels. That's what they call them. That's what they call us. Anyone that won't shut up and sit down, fall in line, and just worship money, greed, and control, justify lies. Anyone that won't live that way is a rebel. That's why they've got 2,000 guillotines they're going to put on Guantanamo, and we think it's for terrorists. The ones that won't comply. That's what the terrorists are. So these artists, these entertainers, they're a threat. I mean, go here. Every outsider that's ever been a president, so who hasn't come in from this privileged system, was murdered, except Ronald Reagan, and they almost got him. So there is that. The same thing goes on in our entertainment industry with the movie stars and the musicians. They're not going to have another Ronald Reagan come in and take power. And what happens is these stars who are so authentic, and that's why they're stars. It's not because someone told them what to wear, what to sing. That's what we get left with. They martyr the authentic expressions, the authentic artists, because the authentic expression won't lie. The authentic expression, it's not about religion. It's not about religion. It's about what God really is. God, love, truth. The authentic expression, bravery, intolerance of greed. That's what all of these people have in common. And many of these stars, again, as I said, they walk this line, and they don't speak to the people because they believe we're too stupid to get it as well. But look at what we don't get. I mean, can you blame them? In a way? I mean, like, oh my God. They found prescription bottles in Prince's house within his belongings, just like was channeled. You were on the phone with me when I said they're going to find prescriptions that weren't his with female fingerprints. They found 2 bottles, and not only were the prescriptions, this is all in the press, not only were the prescriptions, they couldn't be traced to Prince, but the medication it said on the outside of the bottle was not what it was on the inside, even though the pills themselves were made to look like the correct medication.
Wow.
That had to come from the main compounding, and that is where these people that are in the Illuminati, they run our pharma. They have since World War II, when penicillin was discovered. Do the research. They set up the medical schools. They still own them today, along with Harvard and whatever else, you know. Oh my God! It's a system of classes.
Well, and what
let them eat Monsanto instead of let them eat cake. That's all we've done is we've just treated.
Yes, yeah.
Let them eat cake. Let them eat Monsanto and McDonald's. Let's create cancer and sell them the cure. Population control. We can't afford to take care of all of these rats. Mm-hmm.
Oh, boom, boom, boom! Hit on that.
Mm-hmm. Full chills.
We are considered
full chills.
We're considered rats.
And the stars that will not tolerate this, that really love the people, that start speaking out, they get them, Christine, because they're worth more dead unless they will work for them alive, which is why they got Robin Williams. As long as he stayed with CAA, Dad says the devil runs that agency, CAA. The devil runs that agency. When he left CAA, he was marked. Same story for George Michael. Then over the next 21 years, there will be such a shakeup in Hollywood and in our political system. It's not even funny. And all of these wins, this is just the beginning. There will be floods out here in the South and in Memphis. There will be mudslides in Malibu. The volcanoes are just started. The Ring of Fire was just activated. Ding, ding, ding. It keeps playing Johnny Cash in my head. Ring of Fire. So anyway, there's a lot of shakeup that's going to happen over the next, and this is going to be exposed. And when it's exposed, all of the truth will come out for all of the martyrs. It's part of the gig. You can't raise the vibration the way that we have been and not have truth come up and out. That's what it does. It forces truth. Force is not it, because God doesn't force it. It's a catalyst. He just keeps pulling it up, and we all have to kind of regurgitate it like, coughing up a fur ball. And then when everyone can handle it, breathe. It's kind of, he's showing it to me. It's kind of like having a baby, contractions.
Right.
A little more truth. But the more truth that you will speak in your life, the more you will help this energy in this process, and your own life will be elevated just by, it's not about hurting people's feelings. It's not about going out and being crazy. It's just about saying what you mean and making not making, but asking, lovingly demanding through the power of God. Look at that as science then, the laws and principles of attraction. It's time we start living these principles and not talking about them and not justifying lies and saying, well, it's okay. All politicians do that. Great, then don't vote for any of them this year. Take a stand, please. And stop worshiping stars who literally put on a facade, a fucking costume for you. When if you knew them, you wouldn't like them anyway most of the time. And number two, because they think you're stupid, for God's sakes, the majority of these stars. And the ones who are authentic, they have to go hide, stay quiet, or they get killed. Great, but it's time that we start lovingly demanding that this stuff change. And the only way that we can make that change is to actually make a change and stop talking about it and stop arguing about, oh my God, it's done is done. What's that?
Well, the polarity keeps people, it's very Machiavellian. You keep people busy with the blue right argument, the conservative progressive argument, the black-white argument, whatever. You keep people divided so that you can continue to do what you need to do. Absolutely. To gather more power and control or whatever.
Oh yeah. If we all came together, which we I believe we will. I'm shown we will. So it's not my belief. But then I've got to work with any doubt, because you look at the world and I go, oh, really, Dad? We're all gonna come together? Okay, over the next 21 years. So it doesn't mean, when is that? I don't know. I don't even ask anymore, because I just want to stay in the moment. I start getting long, when. Nah, let's just stay right here. Feels better. I just let God handle all that. So and that's the other thing, is that God, who is love and truth, God is not religion. In fact, God can't stand religion, really. In Full of Gratitude, some of the teachings are okay, but the structure God would not have, and certainly no hierarchy. With that said, within a church on the earth, there is no hierarchy for men here on the earth, but we've been taught to worship stars. We've been taught that we need the government, which is hysterical because then people talk about knowing God. Well, wait a minute. If God, and we now know God has infinite possibilities and the greatest power on earth, if you know you're walking with that and that energy has your best interest at hand, if you will just speak truth and walk bravely, then why would you ever need a government? Why would you ever need a government? I get to say that because I people can check. I've never, and I'm not. It's not a judgment. Doesn't mean I'm better than. We're all taught what we're taught, and many people don't know this. And I'm blessed that I did. That I had this guidance my entire life. And God would tell me, don't take anything from the government. Don't take anything from the government. I'm going to support you. If you are my hands and feet, if your intention is to help here on the planet, why would this loving energy that is God, why would he not support you, sweetheart? He and she, mom and daddy love, is who they call themselves. And so I've witnessed that working as a ministry for over 10 years now. And I've always been supported. It's been hard, but it is hard to get closer to God. It is hard to have trust in this crazy journey called life. So anyway, wherever we were, going back to George Michael, are there any other, do you have any other questions, Christine, about what happened? Again, as I said, I C2 drugs. I really haven't worked on this case any more than that. I haven't been called to. With Prince, they gave very specifics about what type of drugs and that there would be 3 found, and that was all validated with the autopsy report. With George Michael, I haven't really gone any deeper than just the general muscle relaxant and a drug to stop his heart, which I'm told was offered to him. And they use the heart stopping medication on, there goes the train. Wow. On a regular basis. They used it with Tupac's mom and many others, but
because it looks because it's easy to look like a heart attack.
Heart attack. Yeah, it's heart attack.
No one will question that. Right. Everybody has heart attack. Yeah. Everybody's yeah. I got you.
And now let's remember, it is well documented that our government has been giving experimental drugs to entertainers since the 50s. And earlier, really. Let's go to Nina Simone and Billie Holiday, please. They just showed them both. Mm-hmm. Oh. They were both killed for their music. Chills. Whew. Shit.
Oh, Nina.
Wow.
Nina. I just got a really big hit with Nina. Wow.
She was very used.
Oh.
Very used. Wow. Full rolling chills. Oh my God. They just basically took everything she ever made. Whew, and Billie Holiday was owned, but basically she wasn't really even free.
Yeah.
Infinite love and gratitude, but that's how long they've been controlling the entertainment industry, because this one world order has long known. The Queen taught our political system over here how dangerous it is to let the rebels rise up. The Queen, England, taught our political system, and got right in there. And it's been there since, as I said, day one. But again, we really just folded after World War I, just all in. All right, all in, Dad said. That's when we were moving towards this one world order and world depop, they call it, world depop plan.
Well, and the loyalty or the servants of the crown or of England, even with our quote unquote independence. My fifth, this is of almost a folklore, because I have no way of actually specifically proving it, but my grandmother had told me this, that my 5th great grandfather, John Hart, signed the Declaration of Independence, and there were those that signed that were obviously at that time looked upon as, enemies of England because they were pushing for independence. But there were turncoats within there were those that signed that were real true people who knew the dangers and who wanted to start off with a new beginning and to get away from the clutches of the crown. But then there were those within who signed that paper, who we even uphold today as our heroes of our revolution, and they signed the Declaration of Independence, and they were complete turncoats. I'm seeing like now they're all wearing red. They're wearing the red coats, and they would rat out the other people who signed, who were true rebels.
Yes, Jefferson was a true rebel.
Yes,
Jefferson was a true rebel. They wanted me to give him a shout out. They're saying, give Jefferson a shout out. I said, all right, Jefferson was a true rebel. That sounds good. The other thing is that for what they've called them for me, so since America started, England has been placing plants, 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 in our systems. I just want to I'd like to give another shout out. It's a different kind of shout out to Joel and Ray Roberts, Prince's personal chefs. They are plants. They work for the Illuminati. They are in the gang. They have what's called the golden parachute. It's been explained to me very clearly. And if you listen to Prince's music, he writes about the golden parachute. It's all in his, all of it's in there. He was writing messages in his music, and that's why he was holding it back and keeping it in the vault and not publishing everything so that it would be there if they got him. And with that said, I just wanted to give a shout out again. Ray and Joel Roberts are plants. You can trace it right back. They worked for the Queen of England. Then they just happened to move to Minneapolis where Prince lives. So they have plants go in. They ask everyone listening, please ask, because now they're showing me Michael Jackson. So they place these plants that work for this gang in the cities, and then they had them, they give them. So they gave them this. They get whatever it is to set up. They get their setup. We'll give you a restaurant, and so forth. And so plants, we've had them here. I mean, all the time, and they're assigned to the stars. They just said they're assigned.
People will do anything for money. They will sell their own. They will sell their own mother.
Oh my God! It's yes, and I this is going to sound so naive. This is why I don't watch television, and I don't watch many movies anymore. They all just started looking the same to me, and my life is more interesting. Honestly, it's just way more interesting. It's been shocking to me what's been shown to me, and I'll say, so this will sound naive. Sometimes I'm talking to him, I'll say, Dad, people do this? People do this? And he'd say, yes, sweetheart. It's, for, $64 million, yes. For $2 million, he'd say, yes. 200,000 some. He said, some people will do shit like this for a Coach purse. That's what he said to me. And a new car. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's hard because we're called to love everybody. So I've been really working on that this year, Christine. It's been hard. I get a heart blast right away because it's been hard to be shown these truths, and then to know that you still got to love, because you've got to understand that behavior comes from a lack of love, and so there isn't any other way to solve it. But man, is it hard to love when you want to just snap somebody's head off. But I will say both things are true, though. I talk to Dad on a regular basis, and of course I just tell him, hey man, it's up to you, but please get rid of some of these people. Put them in jail, give them a heart attack, something, please. Some of these bad guys, whatever that is. So
I'm wondering, when you were just talking earlier, I got a heart blast through my back. I mean, I felt it more on my back, and I don't know if that was a little thing from George or not. Since he was so persistent, communicating with you that he wanted to be on the show, and then also communicating with my dear in Australia through music to get my attention. and you can take your time on this. Don't worry about dead air or anything like that. Want to give him the space now. If there's something that he wants to communicate, basically he has the microphone or he has the floor, so to speak. If there's any hits that you're getting that you think that he wants to communicate.
Well, it's beautiful when you said you had the heart blast on your back. Yeah, I immediately, before you even finished, I saw his hand on your back. So he was just sending love through the heart chakra and telling you that he's got your back. You and he have a deep soul connection. Deep soul connection. Wow. Very, very close. He's a split, Christine. I just got chills. You and he are split. I mean, like direct split. That's beautiful.
That makes so much that makes so much sense with
the
with the beard, with the
yes,
my obsession with
you look like him.
I have this
too.
for listeners who don't know, and if you however you're accessing this information.
She's adorable.
I have this thing. I love to wear like mustaches or beards, and I really like the beard mustache combo. And so not a real one.
And she looks hot, by the way.
I'll draw it on.
Hot.
I'll draw it on, or I'll use like an app, a photo app. And so a lot of my profile pictures or promotional pictures, it's me, but I'll have like this beard, very trimmed, kind of like facial hair. And when you said that we had a soul connection, and then split, that was immediately the first thing I saw was his face, and he just did this squinty eye, like little twinkle. He did like a little twinkle in his eye.
Oh my God!
Almost like Santa Claus. I don't know. Explain it.
I've completely seen it. I've got chills down both sides, my right and my left. And then they're morphing. Dad's morphing your two faces together. Chills. So funny.
Oh God!
they're just like, you guys are morphing into one. It's so cool. Back and forth. He's laughing. I mean, he is just like tickled. We're group hugging in heaven right now, and now I've got chills down my left because I'm on that side. You're on my right, and he's on my left. So he would have your right, and we're in a group hug in a circle. I look like such a dork. If the listeners could see me, I'm standing in the kitchen with one arm up, like I'm actually hugging George, because I actually am. So
exactly, because I am.
Yeah. He just looked at me and he said, "Well, you are." I was like, "Okay."
But knowing you, Abby, you might accidentally grab his butt. You might.
You know what? Oh my God, I'm gonna do it for Robin. I just did it for Robin. Did you ever see that thing? It was so funny. Robin grabbed. Oh my God, what's that guy from? Oh, good God. Now I'm gonna forget his name. From like, what is this? It's not Star Search. Look at how long I have not watched television. The British guy. That's such a Simon. Robin Williams grabbed Simon Cowell's ass. So when I saw that in my head, and Robin said, do it, when you said his butt. So I just grabbed George Michael's butt here in the third dimension. Are you there? Thank you. Cut some of that, please. Gratitude. Because that was clowning, which is great, but please cut some of that. But let me see, a message from George. Let's go back to that part. So you guys have the close soul relationship. This is hysterical, because now when I look at you, I'm going to see George. I just got chills. Oh, Christine. Baby, he stays with you, and he stays with you. So his energy is staying with you. He's an ascended master, so he'll be working with people from the other side, just like Prince and Robin Williams. And so he works on what's called your primary soul team. That's why he said he was giving you the pat on the back, and he told me he's telling me to tell you that you got to call him Coach. That's so funny.
Okay, George.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
And he doesn't have to. And he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be playing in supermarkets anymore, or my girl's office speakers.
To get your darn attention.
No, he's got my attention now, right?
This is funny. give her a shout out. She's coming through though, but it was discreet. Joan Rivers did the same thing to me. I didn't realize she was on my team or that I was to work with her energy. It's contracted. So when people cross. And so she showed up the other day and got real loud. And it was really funny because in typical Joan style, she was basically calling me, because it wasn't in words, it was an idea. Because I talk with Jay, Prince, and Robin. That's my primary team, the guys, and Abba. So she was teasing me and telling me basically the same thing, like, I'm such a hussy, you know what I mean? Like, all you talk to is like boys, like, hello, I've been trying to get your attention. And then she goes, I'm just kidding, kid. And then she said, I've got a piece of, I said, well, I said, Joan, what can I do for you? She said, no. She said, I have a piece of advice for you. This is so fun. And this is what she said. I heard it verbatim. Sometimes you'll get a channel in words. That's because then it's to be shared. To be shared. When it's between you and them, they prefer to speak in emotions and pictures. So, and that's the channel part. So with that said, this is what she said to me. She said, this is going to be the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you, which was bold. And what's Joan? Bold. We love you, Joan. We love you. We miss you, Joan.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a heart blast. They got her too on the operating table. They got her. And she really had to struggle to get Melissa safe. She really had to struggle to get Melissa safe. With that said, her piece of advice was this. She said, look, kid, she said, don't ever apologize to anyone or you will spend your entire life apologizing to everyone. She said, tell someone to fuck off twice and they'll leave you alone forever.
Oh, that's so Joan.
And then she gave me a kiss on the cheek and left. Swear to God.
Yeah. That's the thing I think is that too, when we pass from this plane at this moment, when we go on, I think we probably have to have like a little mini vacation in heaven, just to go, are you fucking kidding me that I took that seriously? Yeah. That I really took that seriously?
Yes. Well, except for us, well, for many that are awakening to their psychic, I just called it nature. Identity, it's who we are. Divine guidance was meant for everyone. I mean, we have a fair God. Why would he just talk to some people? That's what's created, literally. He says the psychics have been damaging to this planet. We're not judging them. They're here for a reason. So we could go, oh, okay, that's nice, but I want my own hookup. I don't want to pay you $300 to talk to my grandmother for 45 minutes. What the hell is that all about? That's not the way God would have designed it. So many of us will just automatically know, and that's what ascension is. When you take that last out breath and you've already seen who's coming to pick you up, you never die. You go to sleep here and you wake up in heaven. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. With that said, for those who do not and are not here, many of us are not here to come to that level of consciousness because we've agreed to play roles for other people who are closer to ascension. That's how we do it. It's like a leapfrog. So those who are almost there, everyone else kind of lays down and serves to get them to their next ascension, and then we go back and do it again. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, there's the train.
And so the beautiful part is, but yes, that's true as well. So someone who's either not here or not ready, willing, or able to choose to be that awakened at the time of their death and that much at a place of peace, because it's all about science and vibration. It's all about vibration. You've got to vibrate at a 510 or 546. It's the same number to God. One's masculine, one's feminine. Just to be able to do the healing to get back into heaven, which vibrates at a 785. That's how much fun it is. Woo! When people here on Earth, many of us on average, if you took the Earth as a collective, it's about 300 or some, 333 maybe on a good day. And heaven vibrates at 785. Wow. Wow.
So when I pass, I want everybody to celebrate the fact that I'm at a much higher vibration.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And when you
no crying at the
really,
nobody's gonna. I don't want anybody to sit there and be all crying and stuff like that. And play some music so we can dance.
Yes. Tell some jokes, laugh about the fun times, laugh about the shitty times. Laugh about all the times. That's the best. You win in life when you can find jokes in the hardest stuff. And I love this because someone just sent me a quote from Prince. that said, please don't celebrate my birthday. I want to celebrate when I die. I want to celebrate my return home, as a hero, someone who made a mark on this planet, woo, celebration.
That is a wonderful way to actually end this broadcast. And I know we could go on forever and ever talking about this. And I want people, listen, before we wrap this up, I want people to find out more about you. They can go to your website, right? What's your website?
Yes, AbigailNoel.com, AbigailNoel.com. And and they can even schedule a session right there on the schedule a session page if they'd like to. I do work as a ministry, so if anyone cannot afford the fees that are there, then you can make a donation, and I do 30-minute sessions as a ministry for donations.
Fantastic. And I highly recommend people check out her website and do schedule a session with her, because you will. Let me tell you, it's been just a little over a year since I first met Abby, and so many amazing things have happened. So many important things have happened that Abby was privy to. This whole show, Out of the Box Radio, was something that she was actually really so vital in helping move me forward on it, because she saw it all. She saw where we were at, where we're going. And so that's something and it manifested extremely fast. So check her out at AbigailNoel.com. Abby, thank you so much for joining us this hour again. Thank you, George.
Honored.
Thank you so much, George, Michael. And yes, and okay, now that I know that you're hanging out with me, I'm going to dress a little bit better all the time.
Right on.
And I want to thank the listeners too for joining us this week. Don't forget, you can always catch every single episode by subscribing to the podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes, iHeartRadio, or the YouTube channel of Out of the Box Radio. And until next week, I want to remind you to always think outside of the box. Bye for now.